Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 70 of the Alexei Sale.
Wow, Alexei, bit more energy. Come on. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hello. Hey, guys and gals, cats and kittens, dogs and mice.
Yes.
Yeah, welcome to Alexei Sale, the sounds of Alexei Sale. On the 70th podcast, they're here on Alexei Sale's podcast.
There we go.
Yeah.
Bit more mustard on that spoon.
Yeah, we re-recorded partly because I just felt because we recorded Sandwich Bar in December, and then I just felt that was too big a gap because it drops on the 5th of March. Everybody remember that date? As well as going out on Wednesday, the first episode going out Wednesday at 6:30 on Radio 4. They're also simultaneously dropping all 4 episodes on BBC Sound, so you can listen to them all, which is a tribute to the show because they don't do that with a lot of shows, you know.
Oh, okay. Is that a good thing in your mind?
No, it's a good thing, yeah. Apparently, well, they tell me it is. So who am I to argue, really? Yeah. So no, that'll be happening. 5th of March. 5th of March. Yeah, but there was such a gap. Did you say? Yeah, 6:30. 6:30 slot, and they've been repeating. They're repeating a couple of episodes of series 4. One went out on Wednesday, and another one goes out next Wednesday.
Nice. Just
to get the audience warmed up. What was I going to say?
You've been re-recording.
Yeah, so I just felt partly that it was just too big a gap, from December to March. So we went in on last night.
You did this yesterday at the news quiz recording.
In front of the news quiz, yeah, so 40 minutes. One of the guests was Aisha Hazarika, who's somebody who I despise, and so I had to stay out of airway. Traitorous right-wing Labour member of the House of Lords now. Anyway, so I managed that. But so we recorded about 40 minutes at the Radio Theatre last night. It went amazingly. Actually, the audience were even more enthusiastic than when we did the recordings. Actually, I said to them, they were laughing. They're really fantastic response.
Great.
To the new material. So now all the shows, I mean, it's not much, but it's just a kind of vibe, really, it's not a topical show, so, it doesn't really have topical references, but just I felt like I wanted that freedom just to, put in a bit more stuff. Obviously mention, only in passing, but mention Trump and Elon Musk.
So you've put like a bit of new stuff in each episode?
Kind of thing,
like a little Botox injection,
kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. Just to lift it, Yeah, because it, as I say, it just felt like I felt like it was too big a gap, really. So,
nice.
So we did that last night. So that's why I'm a bit dozy, I suppose.
Hey, well done.
I was done by 7:45. But felt like it does feel like. I mean, recording this series I think it's fantastic. I mean, when people listen to it, it's a show which manages to I think, really bottle what it likes to be in 2024, 2025 without overt political, without reference to really specific events by and large, but just, it's funny. We were talking last night with Rich, just saying that, show 3 trended on series 3 trended at number 1 on Twitter for 3 days. I think, and I wonder what that was in. Series 3 was about the optimism of Corbyn, really. I think, and maybe that's why. If I could replicate how you could get that effect, I would, but I don't know how to do it, really.
Well,
it's
go on. It's not like you did it intentionally at the time.
No, but there was just a kind of zeitgeist in which the show fitted. And series 4 was really about, if it was suffused, it was kind of suffused with disappointment about the defenestration of Jeremy Corbyn. And so but series 5 is just, I think, is about just the kind of where, it's about the kind of despair and panic and fear in a very broad sense about existence in general, as it were, which is difficult stuff to make comedy out of, really. But I think it's managed with a great deal of effort. It's managed to bottle that, really. So there's a kind of it's very, very funny. Some great gags in there, but there is also an underlying, I think, kind of expression of where we are, in this first quarter of the 21st century, and that's that's fantastic. I think it's an amazing achievement, really. And sometimes it's not. There's not overt references. It's just a sense of the opening stories, and which are not necessarily about they're about puppets or theoretically or a present we got. But there's I don't know. I'm doing this really, but there's a kind of theme that emerges, really, and I do think. It's taken a lot of writing this series, but I think it does really capture. It is really remarkable. Now it's done. Now it's done. There's still an edit. Yeah, there's still an edit to go.
Any more re-recordings? Do you think?
Christ, no! I'm not going through that again. No, it's done now.
Congrats. Hey,
yeah.
When someone makes a sitcom or something and directs a sitcom or a series, they go in. They are in the edit every day for months. That takes longer than the shoot sometimes. Is that
right?
Do you go in and sit in during the edit for something like this?
I don't. Rich, the producer, just sends me the edit, really, and then I say, I just kind of say yes or no. There's no point in me being in the edit because I was there when it was done, so I know what, there is.
There's some back and forth. You give notes,
and there's some fine tuning that needs to go on. Dropping a line, swapping a word sometimes for a word in a different recording, almost. Almost on that granular level, really. But there's no necessity for me to be there. I've never been one. Perhaps a mistake. I've never been one to really go into the edit on anything I've done. I didn't on stuff or new or any of the radio stuff that I've done. I don't. It's not my. I think once you've made it, then your next intervention should be to listen to a rough cut and then say, things you'd like to change, and then just listen to the final cut just to check it over, really. But I know other people do go and sit in the room, but it's a kind of waste of time. For me, it's not an attractive proposition apart from anything else. Listening to myself over and over again.
Yeah, fair enough. It's not the same. It's not a visual medium.
No,
you have to sit in there.
No. But I do. I am. I think when I listen to the final cut, and judging by the response to the new material last night, it was just everything really comes together to just make an astonishing piece of work. Like Rich was saying, the challenge in a way that if you think that I've written 10 hours of bloody top-notch comedy, he said that's 10 Edinburgh shows, and nobody writes 10 Edinburgh shows, but that's what I've done since 2016. I've written 10 Edinburgh shows, and the challenge is, it's a lot,
Surely, no. For a man of your esteem and seasoned experience,
it doesn't get. I think it doesn't. The experience, I suppose, kind of helps you get there quicker sometimes. So I don't really think, gags. Especially because my work's pretty unique in that it's both monologue and observation. But there's also I've always wanted to put proper old-fashioned jokes in there, and they're just hard to come by and sort of think of, really. they just take a lot of sitting down and thinking about, especially when you, I guess, probably when you get to my age. So it doesn't get any easier. In fact, I think it gets harder really. And also, what I had with the previous series was I had the tours, the 2017 Edinburgh show, and then the 2020 tour to take material from and put in the show. And I'd really I'd used up all of that really. There's a bit, I think, where there's an excoriating kind of bit that I've been doing, that I've held back, but I've put in the show about the corruption and kind of the absolute shittiness of comic relief, which goes out. I think at one point it was going to go out in the week of comic relief. I think it goes out the week after. So that was a junction. That's
fun. That's junction. BBC balance. It's alive and true.
Yeah.
Excorious. What's that word?
Excoriating.
What's that word mean?
It means like flaying in a verbal, but in a verbal sense, was savage,
demolishing kind of thing.
Yeah, savage kind of takedown. Yeah.
Oh, excoriating. Okay, I'm looking forward to hearing that shit. You've been working hard.
Yeah. And it is just jam packed. People are, I don't know, but people are so. I always used to think that when I used to write columns, I used to think somebody'd write a column when that was a big thing. And somebody'd write a column about one thing that happened, where the plumber didn't call or some shit like that. And I always used to write about, it's not, you're writing in a fucking national paper. So my columns would always be about three things, kind of interwoven, and that would kind of tie up and link up in ways that you wouldn't necessarily imagine, but it didn't get many more readers than fucking Bridget Jones. But I mean, I just felt compelled to do that really, and to make everything really dense. And as I say, I think it probably just confuses a lot of the public who just want like one thing, garlic bread. I've seen the future. Well, that is a good bit, but I mean, my inclination has always been to make it so that it's very dense, but it also works. Sometimes there's callbacks. Something that starts out that you don't think is related to something actually then turns out. I think there's a bit in, I think, was it show one? I'm not sure. A bit about puppets that turns out to be sort of linked to a kind of comedic exploration of the ideas of neoliberalism and monetarism. So there you go.
Would you ever do a show? Would you ever do Taskmaster?
No. I don't know if I've been offered Taskmaster, but I've not really watched it in a way, but I think it probably requires too much kind of giving yourself away. I mean, I enjoyed enormously doing Richard Osman's House of Games last year. And two of the revelation for me, and I was chatting to Emma Siddy about this as well, was Anthony Costa from Blue.
Yes,
who was just. Have I talked about this already?
Yeah.
All right.
You fell in love with him.
Have
you stayed in touch with Anthony Costa?
No.
Did you watch the boy band documentary series?
I'm just watching the Boyzone one. I've watched all of the I've watched the one. I've watched Boy Bands Forever just so I could catch a glimpse of Anthony, really. And now I'm watching the one about Boyzone. I've become fascinated with boy bands in an entirely academic way.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
But it's kind of interesting. I mean, because obviously that was after.
Well, I don't know about Taskmaster
my time.
Giving too much of yourself. I think they just shoot it over a couple of weeks. You just like,
it's quite a commitment,
and it's up to you what you. But the new series, I'm really happy to say my friend is on the new series. Her name's Fatiha El Ghurri.
Oh, right.
She's a Moroccan British comedian. She's from Hackney. She goes, I'm from the Middle East. the Middle East of London or the Middle East End or something. She has a joke like that, and she's just like, I think we started out around the same time, and we've gigged together a lot, and I'm just so fucking proud of her. She's been on so much TV recently, and now Taskmaster with one of my favorite people, Jason Mantzoukas, is on it with her. But she is just busting stereotype. It's the kind of Arab I want to see on telly, because she wears a hijab and she is so full of life and energy, but she is scary. Like she's like effing and jeffing, and not being like the kind of Muslim stereotype Muslim girl you'd expect, and repressed hijabi. She's like, you what? You fucking what? You call me a raghead? This is fucking Gucci, like that kind of stuff. Like it's
right.
and it just makes me so happy to see her on telly. And
I think I might have caught a glimpse of her on some other panel show.
Yeah,
8 out of 10. Shit,
maybe something like that. Or she, but she's on the news Taskmaster, and I couldn't be more chuffed. And I think out of like all the kind of panel-y, celebrity game showy type things, Taskmaster's not that I've seen every episode, but it's the one that I think is genuinely funny and a good use of comedians in a non-stand-up format.
Right.
And I think you would be amazing at it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they've ever offered it to me, in all fairness, but I'll have a look at it, really.
Something they did offer you. I have to give a shout out to Mark on the Patreon. He's one of the most active users. Big up yourself, Mark. And by the way, patreon.com/alexeisaylepodcast. If you want to support the show, please pay a visit, maybe join one of the tiers, and you can watch the video version of the podcast every week.
Give us a few sovereigns, Governor.
Just arms for the poor, please.
A couple of shiny sovereigns, Governor.
Arms for the poor.
Oh, I can buy it, man.
Clean your shoes, Gov.
So we're Governor, yeah.
Mark has posted on YouTube some episodes of your sitcom from 1994.
Oh, Paris.
I don't know if we've talked about Paris.
Haven't we? Well,
I saw it this morning that he's posted it, and I can't wait to watch episode 1.
Yeah,
would you recommend it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's I haven't watched it. I mean, it was. Yeah,
Tell us a story.
It's slightly sensitive subject. I mean, it was when I was riding high, really. I suppose, and this was a sitcom written for me by. It was the first sitcom they'd written by Graham Linehan and Arthur Matthews.
Oh,
and it was about. We get all kinds of shit if you know.
Yeah, we do. Fuck it. But in the past, he was a great fucking...
Yeah.
He's created some of the best TV moments.
Absolutely,
all right, I never knew this was one of his.
So Graham and Arthur wrote it for me. And I thought it was going to do for me what Blackadder had done for...
Rowan,
yeah. And it went out. There's big billboards, I remember, on the Euston Road. And it would just... flopped really with the public. I think it wasn't. I'm no Rowan, I think, and also my mother. I mean, not that, but Molly had a stroke. I think on the first day of rehearsal. So on my day off, I had to go up. And I think that we tried. I mean, Graham and Arthur got to make get to commit all the mistakes which they then didn't make on Father Ted, which is what they went on to write. So they got. I'm glad to have saved that, done that job for you, lads. I think the director, because she's dead now, so I think the director never got a grip on the show, and never really, I felt very lost as to really what my character was.
You shot a whole series without a grip. That must have been hard.
That's an industry joke, isn't it? And people know what grip is. And it just, so she wasn't a help, really. And we attempted to do too many things at the same time, really, because the set is very expressionistic, and it's not like a real set. It's sort of like it's based on some table mats that Sinead, the producer's mother, had bought in Paris in the 60s, I think. So it's, I love Sinead, and she's the one who commissioned Sandwich Bar. So. But I think we also tried to do too much in that show, I think. So that's with me, it's a very ambitious failure. And I think the script's read great, really, but, I'm not probably it's set in Paris it's also, I don't know if the world was ever ready for a sitcom set in Paris in the 1920s amongst avant-garde artists, really. So
like real artists or all made up?
They're fictional, but I can't remember whether real artists appeared. But it was obviously the time of, Picasso and all the other abstract expressionists. So it was a time of great ferment in Paris. But we didn't. I don't know that that it. I don't know.
You require a certain audience to appreciate it, don't you?
Yeah. And I say I'm not necessarily, I'm not necessarily the greatest actor. I think I am probably the greatest stand-up in the history of humanity, but as an actor, I'm variable, really, and I never found my part in that, I think. So, but by all means, thank you, what's he called?
Mark,
for traducing all rules of copyright and putting that up on YouTube. Where's he put it up on YouTube?
It's on YouTube, yeah.
Yeah. My solicitors will be in touch. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Mark, you better watch out.
Yeah.
He's called Marxist on YouTube.
If you get his address, that'd be handy.
Excellent.
Mark, so I'd be interested to know what people think if they want to watch it. Yeah, I mean, it's I think it's a kind of glorious mess, really. And
I'm seeing Neil Morrissey. I'm flicking through the episode. Yeah. Neil Morrissey. I'm seeing the guy from The Thin Blue Line. I can't remember his name, but I love him. I think he did a Drunken Time with you and Peter as well once. The Rasputin.
Jim Carter.
What's his name? He was in Gimme 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 with.
Oh yeah, James Dreyfus.
James Dreyfus, yes.
Yes. No, he was great. Yeah, he was I think he was a series regular. I've always felt fond of James. He's
done a few things. I've seen some Nazis. Were there Nazis in the 1920s?
I don't know.
Well, they've got a red armband anyway. I'm not seeing any swastikas. It looks cool. The costumes, the sets.
Yeah, maybe.
You look like this kind of. You're obviously like down on your luck, kind of poor.
Yeah, I'm a kind of it's a similar black. Vain, talentless,
right?
Kind of artist, really. I don't know. Maybe I think the 90s. I mean, we've talked. I'm talking in Sandwich Bar about 1990s Alexei. That he was slightly lost. Really, I think that the zeitgeist had turned against him. It was so he was just hanging around the Zanzibar Club with Anthony Worrell Thompson. I think I was probably out of fashion as well. Really, I don't know if that contributed to. I remember John Peel, who was a big fan of mine, really, of my stand-up, kind of gave it quite a negative review in the Radio Times.
Oh shit!
So you kind of got to take that on board in a sense. So people want to watch it, then feel free. I think it probably is a kind of interesting mess, really.
Interesting mess. A memory came to me the other day of something that happened in primary school.
Yes.
I thought of it. I thought of it when I was reading about the Grammys for some reason, and I thought, what if there was an award show called the Mammies, and it was all awards for like different versions of the song Mammy from 1926 and like the best country version of Mammy, best hip hop version of Mammy. And then I
Al
remembered
Jolson,
Al Jolson, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was an old, I think, old Jewish vaudeville minstrel act jazz
doing
singer.
blackface.
And then I was like, oh yeah, it was a blackface minstrel song, wasn't it?
Of
Because
course
that's
it
why
was,
it's called Mammy, because they're making fun of the black vernacular of the time.
Oh yeah,
And
unpick the levels of prejudice in that fucking stew.
And then there's so many apologists for Al Jolson because saying like he was Jewish and he'd been persecuted, so he understood the struggles. And but then why did he do it then?
I mean, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't particularly. I mean, that's a question. I mean, that is another. I mean, and I think philosophers and social commentators, there's a kind of endless debate, isn't it? It's to what degree you should apply the morality of now to the past.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's a parallel debate to that one we sort of had about enjoying, you know, the work of Wagner, even though it's an anti-Semite, or, you know, Roman Polanski, or...
No, but that's a bit
Isn't that a
different.
separate thing to...
No, I know what you're talking about, but I think Wagner... one thing is applying the morals of today to the art of yesterday, but so if someone's an actual Nazi or something, it was
Wagner
immoral at
really.
the time. Sorry?
I mean, yes, Wagner wasn't. Actually.
Yeah, he wasn't an actual Nazi?
He was, yeah.
And I think globally, well, I don't know. But anyway, so fucking Mammy, yeah?
Yeah.
If you want to apply that logic, don't apply today's morals to it. You wouldn't necessarily recreate that song today or do a cover of it today or perform it today, would you? But then I remembered I had this flash in like year 4 or 5 back in primary school. We did a live a show, a primary school play show musical thing, and it was called Lights, Camera, Action. And it was like a celebration of Hollywood, and it was all these different vignettes, scenes with a kind of loose thread between them telling some sort of story of a Hollywood production. And I had the role, my role was to sing Mammy.
Right.
And
in blackface.
I wasn't, that's the one step they didn't take.
Yeah.
But I was ethnic, I was brown. I'm like the non-white kid.
Right.
And I had a whole scene. I sang the whole song, and then like the director goes cut, and then the scene carries on, and like, you know, so it was like that. That was like the framing device of it. But they got the brown kid to sing "Mammy,"
right,
at a primary school, an English primary school. My mum, you know, like me at the time, was unaware of the historical and racist context of it. And she was in the crowd going, "My boy is singing about me," and she was like crying her eyes out, so proud.
Yeah.
And I'm just like thinking back on it going, is that really fucked up or not? I'm not sure.
Well, it is now. I mean, was it at the time? I don't know. I have no, I provide no easy solutions. I throw this out there really too. I remember loving Al Jolson. I loved the jazz. I mean, one of the reasons that Al Jolson is famous is because The Jazz Singer was the first movie with sound. So that's partly why it's... Interesting side note that the Jolson story, the film which is about Al Jolson, the actor who plays Al Jolson, I can't remember, was one of those who was blacklisted. Who was it? Al Parks. Linda knows for some reason. I'll look into that later. But the actor who played Jolson in the Jolson story was blacklisted in the McCarthy witch hunts in the 1950s.
Okay.
And I remember a particular bizarre bit where Jolson meets Al Parks playing Jolson, or there's some weird kind of meta thing that happens in that film. I can't remember. I can't remember whether it's Al Jolson who's in the film. I can't remember.
Al Jolson is in The Jazz Singer, yes.
He's in The Jazz Singer, but is he in the Jolson story?
In the Jolson story. I could tell you in a second, but he does do a blackface scene in The Jazz Singer as well.
Yeah, well, that was what he did, you know.
1946, the Jolson story. Anyway, yeah, go on.
No, that's all. That's all I've got.
So
Really.
you're a fan of Al Jolson, but
yes, I seem to me when you watch him, I think preferably without the makeup on. I've seen footage of him performing, and you can see that he has a tremendous charisma and ease of. Sometimes, you know, you can. Who?
Thanks, Linda. Yeah, Larry Parks.
Yeah, Al didn't sound right. Larry Parks.
And Al Johnson's not in the film,
right? But Al Jolson seems to have tremendous kind of performing ability, really.
Yeah, well, he had a troubled life.
Why were we talking about? Oh, yeah, you had a vision of singing "Mammy" when you were 5.
It's so fucked up. Like I'm just like googling Mammy and pictures of him, and it's really fucking messed up.
Yeah, I mean, minstrel shows were common
right until like the 60s.
Yeah, well, the black and white minstrel show was on BBC One until 1979. So, you know.
And that's where that's where Mickey Mouse gets his design from.
Tell me, what, how, what, where, who?
Because Mickey Mouse, that's why he wears white gloves.
Oh, because he's a kind of minstrel.
Yes, essentially. Especially like Steamboat Willie, Mickey Mouse, before he was refined. But that was... Anyway, I just kind of felt this kind of whiplash just remembering that and just thinking, was I a victim of racism against African Americans in my childhood? Or why did my school do that? Why was that okay?
Yeah.
Or were they innocently just like, it's a cute song, let's get this kid to sing this cute song?
What year was this?
It would have been probably 1996.
Fucking hell, that is quite fucking recent.
Kind of time.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I don't know. Again, I would throw that out to our community, really, to, you know, if somebody's got a definitive answer on, you know, I'm not a social psychologist or a social historian, so I don't have a definitive answer for you there, but I'll throw that open to be discussed, really.
Thanks, boss. Speaking of our community, our Lego Alexei auction, we're selling off the last Lego Alexei because the winner of it decided to give it up to charity. So we're up to £15. Wow. Money will go to MAP, Medical Aid for Palestinians. £15 is not nothing, and that's fine. And I'll post it to you for free. I just need you. We'll organize how you do it. Just screenshot me proof that you've donated the money, and I'll send it to you. I need to localize where people can bid because so at the moment I'm getting Patreon messages and Instagram and YouTube. So I'm going to do a post on Instagram with some pictures of the Lego Alexei. You can comment on that post, or you find this episode that you're listening to right now on YouTube and leave a comment there. And let's up that bid.
Yeah, come on, people.
Do better than £15 for one of 5 very limited Lego Alexei with a signed. It's got a signed card. You've signed the card that it comes with, a certificate of authenticity. Right. Do you want to talk about Trump buying Gaza?
I suppose so. I mean,
I'm not sure if I'm taking it seriously.
Well,
but just the thought of it, the idea of it, is so horribly racist, so fucking genocidal and ethnic cleansing.
I mean, somebody that I follow, I think, and who is basically talk sense is Professor John Mearsheimer of the University of Chicago, and he has always said, I mean, in his delineation of the Israel-Palestine, he's always said, particularly the last 15 months, he has always said that the Israelis have a problem with the Palestinians, and they can solve it in a number of ways. They can solve it by giving them all equal human rights and absorbing them into a single state, or which they do not want to do. It involves giving the Palestinians a viable state, which again they have no wish to do, and it's never going to happen really under the current. What is Linda doing? You hear that?
Yeah, I can hear it. There's some noise.
What are you doing? No, she stopped doing whatever it was. You can have a 2-state solution, where would be the settlements have deliberately disrupted the West Bank.
Yeah.
Or you can ethnically cleanse or physically murder the Palestinian population, and that is the option that they have decided on. That was it was happening under Biden, and it is now happening under Trump. That is the wish of Israel and most of the Israeli population is to murder or physically displace the whatever it is, 700, I don't remember how many million Palestinians there are, but to get rid of them in one way or another. And Trump's plan is just a kind of a bus stop on that road, really. And he's making it explicit. I think he's perhaps done the Palestinian cause a favor in that he has highlighted that this is what it's about. So it's not about Israel defending itself or any of that, which was always fucking bullshit anyway. It is simply about ethnic cleansing and genocide.
That's the one positive thing about Trump is he tends to just say the quiet bit out loud.
Yeah. He's making it very clear. I think I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can think of is that the Arab states will feel so insulted that they will try and, they may offer a different solution of some kind, or may at least offer some pushback towards. But I don't know. I mean, these are cruel. But
if he's
themselves,
if he's the businessman he prides himself to be, it'll be, and knowing the leaders in the surrounding Arab countries, they'll be like, he'll just take the lowest bid, like who will take however many billions of dollars,
maybe,
to take these Palestinians, as if they're his to move around.
Yeah,
but he'll strike a deal with Jordan or the Lebanese leadership or Egypt. Probably Egypt. Here's $3 trillion for your economy or for your personal stash, Captain Sisi, and take these Palestinians. We'll arrange the delivery. They'll bring some death buses and load them all up. Shoot them if they don't comply. Send them. Well, this is what he wants. I think it's ridiculous, and I can't see that happening.
No, I guess not. But that is the objective. That is the objective both of Israel and of the United States to somehow bring about that end. So I don't know, really. That's what they want. That's the objective. Whether they can bring it about. I mean, it also means that they will perhaps restrict, they will restrict aid. They will restrict the building materials back into Gaza. I think they're already stopped. The Israelis are already stopping tents and
how is this fucking happening? I don't understand.
Yeah.
What time and what world are we living in? Where you talk about just emptying a land, the blatant hypocrisy in he's like, oh, it's a land of death and destruction. No one wants to live there. Look at it.
Yeah, sitting next to the cunt who actually fucking destroyed it.
You what?
Two grinning bastards.
Who did it?
Two grinning bastards with Combovers,
Is this fucking real?
Well,
and I just want to fucking scream and throw my laptop out the window. Like, I can't believe the gall to say those words on an international stage like that, as if it's fine. And then there are people out there who actually think it is a great idea.
Yeah. Well, I say this is what they've been aiming for, really. I mean,
to pretend like it's for the good of the Palestinians.
Yeah.
Just admit admit your intentions. Don't act like you're doing it for.
Well, he is really.
No, but admit why. Why?
Why racism?
Don't say it's for them. They live in. This is not a safe place for them. They have to. They should leave, and we'll get them jobs, and it will be good for them. Fuck off.
Yeah, it's it just makes me laugh that the people who are acting like this is so kind of outre. This is, as I say, this has always been the objective of the Israeli government for a long, long time, and people pretending it's come out of the blue, I think, is fucking naive. And our governments, all European governments apart from Spain, are going along with it essentially.
Yeah. No, or not commenting on it properly.
Yeah.
Not calling it what it is.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, it is shocking, but it is only a statement of what has always been in the works, really. So yeah, that's where we are this week. But yes, it is extraordinary. I mean, it is that. I mean, that rules-based order, that post-war settlement, I don't know whether it was ever that effective, but obviously it is breaking down, really, and I don't know I can't predict what the consequences of it will be. Obviously, you see Trump, I think, yesterday sanctioning and the International Criminal Court, which grew out of the Nuremberg trials, and a response to which was a response to Hitler, and seeing them that he's actually attacking that. I mean, they were never signed up to it; they were never in the jurisdiction of the ICC, but they never. Now they're actually physically attacking that. I mean, what does that say about? I mean, those things were supposed to, I guess, provide a degree of security and a kind of methodology in which autocracy didn't return. I mean, how's that working out for you? It is, that he is. That is a problem, I suppose. But then it was, I guess, in a way, it was always just a fiction. I know people have been commenting. I think Owen Jones is commenting on, Democrats in the States saying, well, you're glad you voted, you didn't vote for Biden. Now, fuck off. 200,000 people probably were massacred under Biden's fucking watch. So, I don't blame anybody not voting for that shitbag. The choice being offered, the choice between him and Trump was always an impossible one. And at least, I mean, Palestinians are still being killed, but I mean, the rate of killing at the moment has gone down, under Trump.
I did see this interview with an Arab American who voted for Trump because of Harris's and Biden's actions and stance on Palestine, and how his whole family have now, he's like having major beef with his family, and loads of them are like, see what you did, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just thought I was doing the right thing at the time. And, I couldn't vote for Harris because of what they were doing in the Middle East. And I'm like, but you don't have to vote for Trump either. Like that wasn't.
Yeah. I don't know. But
Harris and Biden would have are aiming. They both have the same goals. They were just not saying the things that Trump says. They both.
Yes. It just happened a bit slower under Biden. Yeah. I don't know. It's. It's an interest. I mean, one of the things that I don't know is that. I mean, again, somebody like John Mearsheimer says that the interests of Israel are not the interests of the United States, and that it is only because of the particular corrupt system of the way you get elected to power in the United States means that it's money talks, and so that the Israel lobby is essentially bought and paid for, senators and president. I mean, Trump got $100 million off Miriam Adelson just for one fanatical Zionist. So that the interests of the United States and Israel are not the same. I mean, I find that they have just been bought, all these people bought and paid for, as have, large sections of our political class. 80% of Conservative MPs are in Conservative Friends of Israel. I think it's 40% of British MPs, and Starmer accepted large amounts of donations from various Zionists. But I find it. I don't know why. I find it more disturbing that it's not in the United States, Israel, to act all in lockstep with Israel, and than that which is what people like me as Ham say, but which, as compared to that, it is in the interest of the United States, that Israel is a kind of static aircraft carrier. It's a projection of US power into the Middle East. I find that slightly less disturbing. I mean, only slightly, than that it is all just bribery and corruption from the Israel lobby, really. I don't know why in the end it should matter, but it does seem to me that to that level that Mears Ham is wrong, really. There it does also suit the interests of the United States. Again, I would, if anybody's got strong feelings on that, I'd be interested to know them. I mean, he says that that the United States, for instance, would like a two-state solution, and they're being forced to spend all this money because they are bribed by the Israel lobby is not what they want, which I just, for some reason, I find particularly unsettling. So there you go.
I think the only viable solution is the equal rights, the option one of your friend
absolutely.
that you mentioned.
Yeah, just so somehow a one-state solution. But I don't know how you get there. I mean, if the United States
and atonement is going to take Israel making a humongous apology and just giving all Palestinians the same rights as everyone else in that land. But then my big question is, what would you then call the country?
I think that's the least. I think that's the least. I mean, the problems connected with that particular proposal. They call it Israel. I don't fucking care. But it's how you get to that point. I mean, I read years ago, I remember reading a science fiction story. Science fiction stories, because they are they're kind of encoded ways of talking about the future and the present. I think I read it in some magazine. I can't remember who wrote it, but it's about this couple and they're on a motoring holiday in South America, and like everybody's like, "Oh, si, senor, so great to see you. Welcome. This would sell you my souvenirs." And then for some reason, I think, which is unexplained, the United States disappears. Either it's obliterated in some way.
What?
And it's just. What the novel is about, what the short story is about, is just how people's attitude immediately changed because that terrible bully has gone away. People start just being kind of rude to this couple. And I think it ends, in my memory, as their car is sort of driving along the road and is surrounded by a huge menacing crowd, Right. And obviously that obsequious attitude the people had, they only had it because of the the terrible and awesome and awful power that the United States either deploys or threatens to deploy. And without that monster, that nation, the world, I think the world, I mean, it's counterfactual, isn't it? That idea, what if Hitler had won the First World War, but Second World War. But if it's that idea, what would the world be like if the United States didn't exist? Now, you could say some other empire would fill the void, but I mean, Christ, you think if the United States just didn't exist, you think, well, I mean, if I knew it was coming, I'd ring Alan and Irene in Baltimore, and I'd ring Judith in New York and say, the United, I'd tell them about it. I'd say, my friends, look, get to Canada quick. But
I've got a lot of family.
I would let them know if I was bringing it about. But you think, Christ, wouldn't the world be, if that terrible bloody place hadn't existed? Maybe the world would be better.
Well, did you hear about the cause of the financial kind of almost crash in America? couple
No,
weeks ago.
which almost crashed.
It's like the AI war.
Tell me.
So there's, America's invested billions and billions and billions into AI over the last few years. You've got ChatGPT, you've got Google AI, and a third one, which I can't think of right now.
Yeah.
I think maybe even trillions, but their stock has been going up and up. People who invested in AI early on are now have made so much on that investment. It's kind of like the trajectory that Apple had, Apple Macintosh computers.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, China released an AI, and it's called DeepSeek.
Yes, I know this, yes.
And
they made it in my newspaper.
It was
in the saloon bar of the...
Oh, right.
Over a pint of mild. Yeah, go on. Yes.
I heard about it on a Instagram reel.
I heard about it on my crystal radio.
News just coming in from China. DeepSeek has crashed the American stock market. They made DeepSeek in a fraction of the time with a fraction of the cost. Probably due to, lower costs to pay.
I think also they used, rather than bringing in fancy chips or whatever, they found a way to I'm ignorant about it, is to somehow use existing technology.
Well, that's I think a lot of the maybe a lot of it is laced with racism and xenophobia towards the Eastern communists. But people are saying, "Oh, it's only because they don't have human rights in China." It's like, well, what about their innovation? What about their intelligence that also probably contributed to it? So DeepSeek comes out at fraction of the price, fraction of the time, and it's 10 times better than anything the Americans have made.
Yeah.
And instantly, just overnight, all the stock in American AI just crashed into the ground. Why did I bring that up? Oh, because you're talking about the end of America.
Yes.
It doesn't just have to be like a physical, literal thing like that, but things like that can just, that really, and I think we are embarrassed America, really embarrassed.
I think you could probably say that we are, and Trump symptomizes it, that we are in at least in the beginning of the end of the middle of the beginning of not the beginning of the end. I was thought I might try a bit in Sandwich Bar doing that, but in the end I didn't. This is not the beginning, or even the beginning of the middle of the beginning of the end of the middle. It is indeed the beginning of the middle of the end of the beginning. Something I don't know, but anyway, I didn't do it again. But that's Churchill speaking after the Battle of El Alamein, I think. I think we are seeing the very beginnings of the collapse of the United States empire, would be my guess. How that collapse is going to play out. And I suppose in a sense that it would just have been once conventional warfare that would have, that just, whatever the rising, there would have been a war, an invasion or whatever, and China would have invaded. But I suppose nuclear weapons add a kind of complicating factor into that. But I think it's undoubtedly true. And you can see it again, I was trying to think of a parallel with kind of the end of the Roman Empire, really, and Caligula. As the Roman Empire was collapsing, the emperor Caligula, a very decadent emperor, elected his horse to the Roman Senate, and I was saying that Elon Musk kind of plays that role. Really. Or maybe I should have put it in.
It's giving Marie Antoinette as well vibes.
Yeah, there is that kind of death of propriety, and it does feel quite end of days, doesn't it, Trump? We
live our whole lives being told, and I know this might be fucking obvious to you, but you get these realizations, but you live your whole life just being told China's the bad guy, Russia's the bad guy, our values are better, the Arabs are the bad guys, blah, blah, blah. Good versus evil, all this, and all of that is just to make us reliant on Western ideals and Western economies. And
yes.
Because okay, yeah, Russia's done bad things, China do bad things, Russia do bad things. Arabs do bad things. No one's a fucking saint, but America do bad things.
Yes.
Britain does bad things. No one
Oh,
is
fuck, no.
worse or better. We're all fucked.
Yeah.
We're all evil, especially those in power. Like there's no one is free from evil in their nation apart from Uruguay, and that's I don't know about that. So like. It
Happiest
just
people
makes
on
you
the
think,
planet.
like, if we were not reliant on America for our culture, our films, which are the biggest, it's such a big part of our lives,
Yeah.
film and TV that influence us,
Yeah.
and makes us aspire to be like these shows.
Well, we're
and
part
films.
of the empire of the United States, aren't we? Really, you know?
But one day, and half the world doesn't have that in their life. Half the world relies on China and Japan for their culture and their technology and all that. So. And they're doing all right.
Yeah.
Everything can change. Nothing is in a stasis, isn't it?
Absolutely.
There is a future where America isn't the ideal and isn't what we all look at and look to.
Hopefully that day is coming quite soon. I think probably not in my lifetime, unless the collapse is more rapid. I suppose you could I don't know how close they are to.
If you ever go to the Middle East, shut up a second, Alex.
Yeah.
If you ever go to the Middle East, it's so strange because I think that might be the key. Once they get turned around, because whether you're in Dubai, Egypt, even maybe not Syria, Lebanon, there is such a old ancient culture there that is very clear and on the surface, and the people live by their ways. But American TV and film, shit like McDonald's and KFC, they've become necessities as well there.
Right.
And, there's such a reliance on American money, American culture, American food. In Dubai, especially places like that, like it's so cool to have the latest American fad, whatever. And that kind of just keeps the Arabs on a hook in a way and stops them turning. I don't know, but there's something there.
Possibly. I mean, you're talking cultural imperialism, really. Yeah, I don't know.
It's fascinating. Anyway. I'll think on that.
Yes.
We'll do our episode in Syria soon as well, in April, I think.
Well, that was one of the fascinating things about Syria. I mean, it was the only place one of a few places on earth under the Assads where there was no Coca-Cola, but there was some local version, Yeah. There was no McDonald's. There was none of that. It was like stepping through to a weird kind of
Mukarabia. That's what it's called. In Dubai, you can buy a Mukarabia.
Really?
So they do shawarmas in McDonald's.
Right. Well,
and it's like, mate,
they do learn, don't they? They do adapt. I think are we boycotting McDonald's? I think we've nearly destroyed Starbucks, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
So
shit is working, yeah, man. McDonald's taking massive losses. Starbucks
going broke,
and KFC as well is a huge one. And they pride themselves on being halal and very Muslim friendly and all that, but they're on the boycott list in a huge way.
Fine.
People should stay up to date with their boycotts.
Absolutely. And it is working. I mean, that's one of the reasons they try and make it illegal. If you apply for a job in Texas, you have to say, as a speech therapist, you have to say that you support Israel.
Really?
You do not. Yeah, genuinely, any government job, that you will not support boycott, divestment, and sanctions because it works. Anything else? Are you going to talk about raves? Do we have enough time?
Oh yeah, I'm going to a rave tonight. Let's finish on this. I'm going to a big fat rave tonight. My bones are aching. My muscles hurt anytime I do a tiny bit of exercise. I've got this pain in my wrist that won't go away. Yet, off I trot tonight to a big fat rave in Angel. I'll be out till 5 a.m.
Where is it taking place, this rave?
In a place called the Electro Works So it's like this huge venue with like 8 different rooms,
Don't know it.
winding stairs, and it's kind of a hippie, kind of dippy rave.
What the music be like? It'd be
It's
all
very-
that. How will it?
Yeah, so there's lots of different rooms. So there'll be lots of
Yeah.
different vibes. I'm sure there'll be a chill out room. I think there's a techno room, some drum and bass. There's even going to be like a live, like I said, it's very kind of, it's not a typical rave. There's like a cabaret show happening. And on the ground floor, there's even a room where they're doing like workshops all night, like different types of little fun workshops. I
Right.
think last time we did, what do you call them? Life models? What do you call? Yeah, when you sit and draw someone. Life drawing. And everyone, you could go up and pose if you wanted. Keep your clothes on.
Well, that all sounds like hell to me, but obviously you're...
I'm not a whippersnapper anymore, but
no.
I think it'll be fun. Fun night out with the missus. But I was going to ask you about any rave experiences. Obviously, you were big in the 90s when it was really blowing up.
Me and Lenny Henry used to go to a club in Leicester Square called the Soul Kitchen and dance our little hearts out, me and Lenny. And I can't remember. No, I can remember me either coming out, I think, and because I was a bit sweated so much and hitting the night, steam coming off me like a steam locomotive, like the Flying Scotsman, just this huge kind of cloud of steam rising from it. I think I cycled out. I remember when I got home, I was still soaked through. I can't remember an awful lot about it apart from that, really, that we used to dance. I don't know, people probably didn't. I think it was mostly black. People didn't. I don't remember people mocking me for my dancing. I can't imagine it was any good, but so that's something that immediately springs to mind. If anybody else remembers us, seeing me and Len down there at the Soul Kitchen at the Empire Ballroom, I think in Leicester Square in the
was Lenny a good
1990s.
dancer?
I think he is. I can't remember, to be honest. It's all a bit of a blank, really. He is a pretty good dancer, yeah.
So if you're getting that hot and sweaty, it must have been rammed. Must have been.
Yeah.
Full.
Yeah. I don't know why I can't remember more about it, really.
So you've not been to any of these electronic music, drum and bass rave, jungle? Never once?
I don't quite. No, never, I don't think. My friend's son is a real big superstar DJ called, what the hell's his name? I know his real name, but I can't remember his stage name.
Well, that's the cul-de-sac of joy.
So at least I know a superstar DJ, even if I'd never been to anything they've ever done.
Yeah, I know a few of those. All right, I think that we'll end it there on that bombshell.
Yeah.
Alexei Sale. May I just say a few words at the end here about how you can help the show? Obviously,
yes.
Thank you. Obviously, you can go to patreon.com/alexeisaylepodcast. Chuck a few quid our way. It would mean the world to us. Once we get to 500 patrons, we're going to do, to be honest, we might do it beforehand because I don't want to wait. It sounds like fun. We might do a Strangers on a Podcast episode where we do a live stream and have some listeners join in.
I will say, when we right at the beginning of the show, when we were doing that improvisation, like, give me a few stories. I thought I was going to come out with something really good, and I came out with nothing at all.
Unlucky.
So I apologize for that now. If anybody found that particular improvisation underwhelming, I sincerely apologize. Mistakes were made.
That's another thing. At high school, I came into English once really chuffed with myself, and I bragged off to my teacher and my fellow students that I had been reading Sherlock Holmes novels and that Arabs are in those books.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, we're very, we're part of British history. There's lots of Arabs in the Sherlock Holmes novels. They're his friends. They give him intel about what's happening around the city. And my teacher very gently let me know that Arabs was actually the term for pickpockets.
Street Arabs.
And it was street Arabs, and that's actually it means dirty thief.
Yeah,
and that was his network of urchins who gave him intel.
Yeah.
And a thing that I wasn't able to compute at the time, but it's a thing that I look back on regularly, and I'm like, God damn, this is a racist place.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. Everyone hates us, huh? Leave us reviews on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to the show. It really helps. The best thing, which I seldom ask you to do and I should do, tell a friend about the show. If you have friends who are similarly minded, if you have friends who care about the history of comedy or today's politics or frustrated with how the world is going, let them know about the Alexei podcast. Let them know it's a nice, comforting place, a safe place to sit and listen to two hairy, balding men talk about Semites, talk about how the world is and how angry it makes them and other stuff. Really, that's a great way to help just spread the word about the show. Thank you. That's my broadcasters. That's me. I'm feeling a bit. I'm gonna have to sit down and recover after this. I was also looking through my girlfriend's granddad's old dead granddad's photo albums, and there were some pictures in there from the 40s, and they're at some party, and a bunch of them were dressed up as Arabs. As a costume. Like, and I still see it now at festivals. You see the odd guy who's just dressed up as an Arab, like it's a costume.
He's not an Arab.
The whitest, palest bucket hat teen dressed as an Arab because it's such a hilarious costume. My people are not a costume.
Yes. Well, they will be. Give me their names. They will feel the wrath. Our wrath. Yeah, the week is out. It's I'm gonna need to recover from this. Actually, What does hamdulillah mean, by the way? I know.
Hamdulillah.
Hamdulillah.
By the grace of God, basically, is the equivalent of that. Like, thank God. Like, something good has happened. Hamdulillah. Like,
Hamdulillah.
By God's good graces, it happened.
Hamdulillah.
It's like the opposite of inshallah. Inshallah is I hope it will happen.
Yes.
Hopefully it will happen and God will help it happen.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Oh, it happened and God made it happen.
Right. He's busy.
And astaghfirullah is, fuck, I can't believe that happened. Fucking hell, God, why did you make that happen?
He gets in everything, doesn't he?
He does. He's got his fingers in all the pies. He's such a busybody. Like, fucking hell, give us a second. He does.
All right. Feel like we're winding down.
Well, we are. Let's say goodbye. Alhamdulillah, we've finished the episode.
Alhamdulillah. And yes, bye-bye.
See you next week, inshallah.
Inshallah. You've been listening to the Alexei and Talal podcast. This show is produced and edited by Talal Karkuti. Music by Tarbush Records. Thanks to Audio Boom for hosting us. Please keep your emails coming in at alexeisaylepodcast@gmail.com. Goodbye.